There have still been families within this country who have not sought full justice.
Tonight, a sentence is handed down in the manslaughter death of a Six Nations man.
That's how long it took to get a school here. 5 generations.
A century-long wait for a school is finally over for the Kluane First Nation.
Together, we can put an end to violence and ensure that the future generations can grow up in safety and dignity.
And more measures for MMIWG and Two-Spirit Plus people in the Yukon. Good evening, I'm Dennis Ward. Welcome to APTN National News. It's shaping up to be a record wildfire season with fires raging from coast to coast. This has meant Indigenous Services Canada has had to spend tens of millions of dollars helping First Nations deal with the fallout. But an NDP MP says one particular Métis settlement in northern Alberta is being left out. APTN's Fraser Needham has more.
Indigenous Services Minister Patty Haidu says the multitude of wildfires this spring is putting her department to the test.
We are in an extremely unprecedented wildfire season. The forecast doesn't look good. It's all across the country, and the scientists are predicting severe wildfire risk for the month of June, July, August. So Indigenous Services Canada continues its work. It's really driven by First Nations leaders who have emergency planners.
Alberta has been particularly hard hit by fires, and NDP MP Blake Desjardins says he has seen firsthand what wildfires have done to the East Prairie Métis settlement.
When the evacuation order was lifted, can you just imagine how painful that would be to see a family hoping and praying their best to go home?
Desjardins raised the East Prairie situation in the House of Commons on Monday and says they need immediate help from the federal government. But Haidu says it isn't quite so simple. Métis communities technically fall under provincial jurisdiction, so the Alberta government would have to request help before the federal government can move.
Provinces have been putting in requests for assistance. In fact, we've pre-positioned pieces of support, whether it's Red Cross, contracts with the Red Cross, or military support to fight fires or protect communities, so that we could really quickly move in when the request for assistance comes from the province. It's important that provinces consider Métis communities and Indigenous communities.
But Desjardins says Alberta has only paid lip service to helping the community so far, and East Prairie needs help now.
The larger sum of money that's required to rebuild is in the dozens of millions of dollars. They're still calculating the total damage, but while they do that, it's important that Indigenous Service Canada and its jurisdictional football passing stop the passing of the buck and actually pay so that these folks can get support they need.
Fraser Needham, APTN National News, Ottawa.
The family of Jonathan Styers have a small sense of justice today, something the family has been waiting to see for close to 8 years. Annette Francis is at the courthouse now.
After a lengthy court battle, Peter Cahill has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for the 2016 shooting death of 29-year-old Jonathan Styers. Styers was shot twice while breaking into Cahill's truck outside his home. Cahill was charged with manslaughter last year, which carries a minimum of 4 years. The Crown was seeking a 10-year sentence. Cahill is expected to appeal the sentencing. Six Nations Chief Mark Hill says he was a little surprised at the sentence, but is it justice?
There have still been families within this country who have not sought full justice, and not saying that this is even full justice at this point, as you've heard from Lindsay, that it's not the end of this journey. But for us, it's how do we then be able to still support and politically advocate for the necessary changes.
To Manitoba now, and more than 3 years after a First Nations woman from Tooten-Ozibeen Treaty Reserve went missing, RCMP say they believe the woman is dead and they are investigating her case as a homicide. 40-year-old Melinda Link was last seen on March 31st, 2020. The mother of 6 was reported missing on April 16th of that year. According to a press release by Roblin RCMP, more than 50 people have been interviewed in connection with her disappearance. The RCMP search and rescue, major crimes, and forensic units have been investigating an abandoned home in St. Clara. That's a hamlet north of Roblin, Manitoba. Roblin RCMP says they're following up on new information, and because of the ongoing investigation, the reasons for the search cannot be disclosed. The Yukon is providing more clarity when it comes to its strategy to address violence against Indigenous women, girls, and Two-Spirit Plus people. The Yukon Advisory Committee on Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, Girls, and Two-Spirit Plus people released a plan that will include milestones and timelines, all meant to make the territory safer. The committee's main goal is to guide partners and signatories towards safety while also honoring the memory of the missing and murdered.
Our committee firmly believes that we will create a safer Yukon. Together, we can put an end to violence and ensure that the future generations can grow up in safety and dignity and to freely pursue their dreams and realize their potential.
We'd like to hear how your territory is addressing MMIWG as we just had the 4th anniversary of the final report. Here's how you can get in touch with us. You can send us an email to news@aptn.ca or leave a comment on our website. That's aptnnews.ca. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. The Kluane First Nation in the Yukon has been asking for a school since the early 20th century so that their children could be educated in their community. Now, over 100 years later, that dream may soon be a reality. Sarah Connors has more.
It's a celebration the Kluane First Nation has been waiting for. In a few short years, this land will be home to a school for students in the community of Burwash Landing. For Mary Jane Johnson, it's an accomplishment that's more than a century overdue. That's because the community of 70 people first petitioned for a school back in the early 1900s.
My grandfather, Grandpa Moose, was one of the people that signed the petition in 1917. So from my grandfather, my mother, my time, my children, my grandchildren, that's how long it took to get a school here. 5 generations.
The small handful of students in Burwash are bused to the nearby community of Destruction Bay, 15 minutes away. But with the school's limited resources and programming, many families have since left the area so their children can attend high school in other communities. Johnson herself elected to homeschool her children instead.
I'm not taking my kids to the school at Destruction Bay, where we do not even have our language or our culture.
So the idea is to kind of set the school into the site, build up the land around the entryways and everything, and make sure all of the spaces are nicely connected to the outdoors.
Now the community's new school, named Kitsadunku, which is Southern Shoshone for House of Learning, is hoping to change that. While it's empty ground for now, when built, the roughly $20 million school will include learning spaces connected to the land and have facilities to help children connect with the nature around them.
For me and for our community, I think it's a huge step, to realizing a goal or a dream that's been here for over 100 years.
Kluane Chief Bob Dixon says current language and culture programming is minimal. He's hopeful the new school will help students lift up their community.
We need to have our culture and our language in the schools today so that we can, continue our way of life for our people.
The school is expected to be in operation in 2026. Johnson says it will ultimately help keep Kluane First Nation children in the community where they'll learn best.
My granddaughter said, I'm going to be the first one to graduate from that school.
Sarah Connors, APTN National News, Burwash Landing.
It's being hailed as a historic agreement between the Thunder Bay Police Service and the Nishnabe Aski Police Service. We'll hear from the chiefs of police of both services after the break. Welcome back. The Thunder Bay Police Service and the Nishnabe Aski Police Service have signed what is being called a historic partnership agreement. The deal was signed this morning in Thunder Bay. For more on what this all means, we're joined first by Roland Morrison, the Chief of the Nishnabe Aski Police Service. Police Chief Morrison, thanks for being with us. Can you tell us a bit about the ultimate goal of this partnership?
Well, I think you said it right there, partnerships. It's important that we establish partnerships, and it's important that our communities see these partnerships established and developed. So that was the whole purpose of getting together and establishing the partnerships so that we can collaboratively tackle the issues that are facing Northwestern Ontario together. Not just specifically the urban areas, but also the Indigenous areas. We know that to get to the Indigenous communities, you have to come through the urban locations. So that's why these partnerships are critical. It's going to benefit all the communities within the Northwest region of Ontario.
Will Indigenous peoples living in Northwestern Ontario who come in contact with police see a difference in the way they're treated?
Well, again, I think that's going to be one of the end goals of this partnership, is to provide that exposure to our officers, not only from the Nishnabe Aski Police coming into an urban municipal setting, but also for those officers working in that urban municipal setting to go into Indigenous communities, to be exposed to the conditions, so they have that understanding when it comes to dealing with Indigenous people here. So they have that knowledge about where they're from, gain an understanding into the conditions and those social issues, and then bring that back into their location of policing and apply what they've learned so that they can have that understanding about the people that they're dealing with.
Was this partnership already in the works before Police Chief Fleury took over?
We had conversations, yes, with the previous acting chief, Dan Taddeo. There was a lot of work done on that regard, and we knew that with the new chief coming in, we were close to signing, but we decided to delay that because with the new incoming chief, we wanted to make sure that the Chief Fleury started off his tenure here at Thunder Bay Police and in the right direction, providing those opportunities for partnerships and really giving that opportunity to have an impact on the community, but not only on the community, but within the region as well.
Can you give us a sense of how this partnership will work in practical terms?
So again, today was the signing of the agreement, that partnership, and what we're going to do from here is going to really start planning as to how we're going to get members of the Thunder Bay Police Service up into our communities, but also again the members from Nishnabe Aski Police coming into the city of Thunder Bay. So there's a lot of dialogue that still has to take place, but we are targeting officers from the city of Thunder Bay, the city of Thunder Bay Police Service coming into various communities within NAPS, just to gain that exposure and that again, the conditions that the Indigenous people from the Nishnabe Aski Nation territory, what those conditions are like, and to see why they come to large urban centers, because there are more resources here in large locations to serve their needs.
Given all the reports that have been done, studies, media reports as well, do you think people in the communities that NAPS serves will be concerned to have members of the Thunder Bay Police Service coming into the communities?
Of course there's going to be concerns. Obviously they have that concerns. That's why those inquiries happened. But it's also important that we have to move forward. We have to move forward now. And it's important that we work together in how we're going to move forward. And that's why this partnership with Thunder Bay Police is very important, that we have a role, we have a responsibility as well to help. And that's what's important here, is that we have to help. That's why we get into policing, is that we help people. Right. That's what we do.
Chief Morrison, we'll have to leave it there, but really appreciate your time.
No, thank you very much.
We also spoke with Thunder Bay's new Chief of Police, former Mountie Darcy Fleury, right after the signing. Police Chief Fleury, thanks for taking some time for us. From your perspective, what is the ultimate goal of this new partnership?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. No, I think the ultimate goal is the opportunity to work together on some of our, we have very similar interests as to how to manage and work with our communities and our partners. And I think this is a really great opportunity for us to do exactly that. Come together, come up with some ideas, some strategies, some sharing of information, and really do our best that we can to provide service to those people that live in Thunder Bay, those people that are in the surrounding communities, within the NAN territories, and people who are just coming here to visit. So I think it's a really great opportunity for us to share ideas and work together on things.
You're just a couple weeks officially into your tenure. Why was this partnership something you wanted to get out of the way right away?
Well, one of the things that obviously, we really want to focus on how we build relationships with our Indigenous communities. So I think one of the first steps on that is to build these partnerships. And we've been going around the community. We've been talking to a lot of agencies, trying to understand where they are as far as the service that they do and the capacity for them to do more. So this first step with NAPS is to really get a good, solid understanding of basically on some of our shared programming, how we can work together training-wise, and really provide service to the people. There's a lot of people that come to this community from our First Nations communities, and we really want to understand their needs. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to have the opportunity to visit their communities along with Nishnabe Aski police and get a good understanding of what they're facing. So I think that's the important piece, is that understanding that we're going to get from this opportunity.
For people in the city of Thunder Bay who come into interaction with police, will they see any differences?
I'm not sure they're going to see a whole lot of differences. I think what they're going to see is they may see some familiar faces or people that they may have prior to coming to Thunder Bay that may have contact with at certain times during their lives. I think overall, we're very focused on providing that service that is, friendly, make people feel safe. And I think having officers from Nishnabe Police Service coming in is going to, is going to give us both an opportunity to learn from each other and really share the experiences. And I think it should be good for the people of Thunder Bay.
How will its success, this partnership, be determined?
How will it be determined, the success?
Yeah, will there be regular reviews or?
Oh yeah, I think we absolutely have to have regular reviews. We have to have an evaluation as to where we are and what we're trying to accomplish at the end of the day. This is the very first step of the process. We still have to map out exactly how the agreement's going to go, when we're in their territory, when they're in our territory, those types of things. But included in that has to be an evaluation. We really need to see, where the benefits lie, and of course, obviously, if there's some areas that we need to improve in our partnership, then that has to happen. So I think the success is going to be down the road is going to be how we intermingle, how we come across new ideas and share information, and see some enforcement action as well as just the community piece.
Well, Chief Fleury, I'm sure we'll be talking about this in the future with you. Appreciate you taking some time with us.
You bet. Thanks much.
Time for one more quick break. Coming up, a special gown for convocation at the University of Manitoba. Stick around. Welcome back. Time now to take a look at our photo of the day. And checking the nets during a beautiful sunset, Serge Gray shared this great picture from Listagouche, Quebec. Thanks for sharing, Serge. You can send your pictures by email to share@aptn.ca or tag APTN News on Instagram to be featured as our next photo of the day. Now let's take a look at tomorrow's weather forecast. Starting on the East Coast, 15 with showers in Halifax, 11 and rain in Fredericton. 17 in Kuujjuaq, cloudy and high of 4 for Nain. 16 with rain in Montreal, 21 in Val-d'Or. Sunny and 20 for Sault Ste. Marie, smoky and 20 in North Bay. 21 under the sun in Thunder Bay, 20 in Kapuskasing. 22 with showers in God's Lake, 28 with rain in Norway House. Rain and 27 in Winnipeg, showers and 30 for Dauphin. Rain and 34 Regina, 27 in Saskatoon and North Battleford. 26 in Meadow Lake, Buffalo Narrows and La Ronge. Sunny across northern Alberta, 25 for Peace River and Fort McMurray. 28 and sunny for Edmonton, Calgary, and Lethbridge. Sunny and 25 in Vancouver and Victoria, 34 in Kamloops. 26 and sunny in Prince George and Smithers. 23 with showers in Old Crow, 19 in Whitehorse. 14 with rain for Yellowknife, 19 in Norman Wells. 23 with the sun out in Inuvik, 6 in Paulatuck. 7 with rain in Chesterfield, 6 in Whale Cove. 0 in Resolute, +1 in Arctic Bay. In the spirit of reconciliation, new graduation robes have been designed for the University of Manitoba, featuring work by an Nishnabe artist. Tamara Pimentel has that story.
So I've designed the robes with Ojibwe flower motifs.
43,000 beads went into these graduation robes. They'll be worn by University of Manitoba's president and chancellor during convocation. They were designed by a Nishnabe artist, Jackie Travers, who's also a U of M Fine Arts alumni.
More of our people are starting to graduate, and it's about time that we're allowed to represent our nations and our culture and pride in where we come from.
The design was unveiled after a blessing ceremony. It features the prairie crocus with strong roots connecting to red and orange buds, representing MMIW and the children who never made it home from residential school. Michael Benarosh is president and vice chancellor of the University of Manitoba.
So the blue line and the gold here you can see on the old robes, and this is honoring the past but showing that we are moving forward in a different way, in a more inclusive way as we move forward. And as you said, there have been students and even some of our people who work, elders and others, who have wanted to wear their traditional robes to convocation, and I think this sends a strong message that that's okay at the University of Manitoba, and we will accept that. And not only will we accept it, we will honor it.
From here on out, the robes will be worn at every convocation. Tamara Pimentel, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Beautiful work, as always, by Jackie. Well, we're looking forward to all of the grad stories over the next few weeks. Send us your grad pics. We'll try and use some of them for our photo of the day. You can send those by email to share@aptn.ca or tag APTN News on Instagram. That is all the time we have for your APTN National News for this Tuesday. For news anytime, you can head on over to our website, aptnnews.ca. I'm Dennis Ward. Thanks for being with us. Have a great night.